Good morning. Today we start the book of 1 Samuel. And 1 Samuel is a book of the transition basically between the judges and the first king, Saul. And actually David, his second king, is crowned as king by God, even while Saul, the first king, is still there. And of course we know there's animosity there. As 1 Samuel begins, we're going to try to do the first 6 chapters today, and I'll just go through them real quick. But as Samuel begins, Elkanah is the man who's highlighted for us, and he has 2 wives, Hannah and Peninnah. And Hannah has no children, and she's the one, of course, that he loves the best. And she struggles with this identity as having no children. And one year, as they normally do, as they go up to worship to the temple, Hannah presents herself before the Lord, and the priest Eli is there. And he sees her lips moving, but she's not speaking. And the Bible tells us he assumes she's drunk, and he approaches her, and she says, "Oh, I'm pouring my heart out to the Lord. I am heartbroken, devastated that I don't have a child." And the priest Eli says that, well, God will have favor upon you. And she makes a vow to, when a child is born, a male child is what she wants. When a child is born and weaned, she will bring that child, to the temple, and he will be a Nazirite to God. And everything, of course, happens in that fashion. And the next year, as her husband goes to for the worship, she stays home because Samuel is still young, still nursing, not weaned yet. And the following time when she does go, she fulfills her vow to God and to the priest, but mostly, of course, to God, and brings her son and leaves him there in the presence of Eli, the priest, to begin a service to God. And chapter 2 is the first part of it is her song, her prayer of thanksgiving to God for the birth of her child. Verse 11 of chapter 2, Elkanah goes home while the boy remains to minister to the Lord. And then verse 12 we get, boom, the sons of Eli, the priest, were scoundrels. Scoundrels, I love that word, scoundrels. But they would cheat people. They would take the people's sacrifice and take it for themselves, and they weren't honoring the sacrifice. And of course, Eli found out about that, but couldn't get them to change. And as the story goes on, Eli is getting up in his years, and we're going to find out he's 98 years old in just a little bit. But anyway, as all of this is happening, Samuel is ministering to Eli. Eli is his mentor, whichever you want to call it. But during sleep one night, Samuel hears a voice, Samuel, Samuel, calling his name. And he runs to Eli and says, "What is it, Master, you called?" And, "Oh, I didn't call you." And happens again and again. And then Eli figures out it's God. So when it happens again, say, "Speak, Lord, your servant is listening." And of course, that comes to happen as well in chapter 3. And but the message that the Lord gives to Samuel is a message that would bring terror, devastation to Eli. Verse 12 of chapter 3, "On that day I will fulfill against Eli all that I have spoken concerning his house from beginning to his end. For I have told him I'm about to punish his house." And it's going to happen. And Samuel lays there till morning, and then as he goes to begin his day with Eli, Eli says, "So, what did God say? Don't spare me any details. Don't lie. Give me the truth." And Samuel does. He tells Eli exactly what God has spoken. And Eli's response, "It is the Lord. Let him do what it seems good to him." not going to argue with God, not going to plead with God, knowing that his sons have sinned not only against humanity, but against God himself. And, and what Eli says is that sin against God, that's the worst sin there is. And I would agree with that, to sin against God. But verse 19 of chapter 3, Samuel grew up, the Lord was with him, and let none of his words fall to the ground. All of Israel knew that Samuel was a trustworthy prophet of the Lord. Think about that. This young, still young boy, that has become well known throughout all the land of Israel as a prophet for God. And chapter 4 begins with the word of Samuel came to all of Israel. And in those days, the Philistines struck up against Israel. And they came to battle, and the Israelites were routed. They lost 4,000 men the first day, and they were trying to figure out what to do. And Eli's sons were a part of this. They were leading, and they said, well, let's take the Ark of God, the Ark of the Covenant with us, and then surely God will be with us, and we will be victorious. But God understands their duplicity. Even though the fear has been struck into the Philistines, one of the leaders of the Philistines says to them, be men and fight. Take courage and be men, O Philistines, in order not to become slaves to the Hebrews as they have been to you. That's verse 10 or 9 of chapter 4. Philistines, take heart, be courageous, be men. And sure enough, they do. They rally and they defeat the Israelites, soundly defeat them. 30,000 Israelites are killed that day. The Ark of God was captured, and the two sons of Eli are both killed in the battle. So the prophecy to Eli was that, your both sons will die on the same day has come true. And when Eli hears the sound of all of these people coming back after the defeat, he wonders what's happened. And it says he was 98 years old. His eyes were set so that he couldn't see. And the messenger comes and tells Eli what has happened. And Eli is so struck, so devastated, whatever. It says that he fell backward from his seat by the side of the gate, and his neck was broken, and he died. He had judged Israel for 40 years. And it's a sad story for the end of Eli to see his sons, his two sons who, I remember growing up, that the pastor's kids often seemed that they were, they were in at least as much trouble as anybody else was, but often theirs was highlighted. But here, these sons of Eli, the priest, found a terrible end, and it was, devastating to Eli and to the people. And one of his sons, one of his daughters-in-law was pregnant, about to give birth, and when she heard that her father-in-law and her husband were dead, she gave birth, but during that birth, she died from that birth, and she named her son Ichabod, meaning the glory has departed from Israel. And because his Ark of Covenant had been captured, it was, the thing, and we don't know today where that Ark of the Covenant is. It would be great to have that, to have those stone tablets and to have it all, but at some point it's been lost, destroyed. There is no more. Chapters 5 and 6 deal with the Philistines and the Ark. And they take this Ark of the Covenant of the Hebrews and put it in with their God. And the morning comes and their God statue is tipped over. They put it back up. The next day it's not only tipped over, but its head and its arms are broken off. And they say, we got to get rid of that Ark of the Covenant. So they send it to another place. And that place again too, the Ark of God himself wreaks havoc there as well. And, it was in the country of the Philistines, chapter 6. The Ark of the Lord was in the country of the Philistines 7 months. And then the Philistines called the priests and the diviners and said, what shall we do with this Ark? And they said, send it back to Israel. Get rid of it. Send it back to Israel. Do not send it empty, but send it. And they do. They send it back to the Israelites. They put it on a cart and put 2 milk cows who have calves on pulling it, and they just send it. And the milk cows head straight down the road to the land of Israel. And when it gets to Israel, of course, I mean, great things don't happen right away either. There's some problems there, and it gets verse 19. The descendants of Jehoiakim did not rejoice with the people of because of the ark of the Lord, and devastation happened there. There were 70 people there that were killed, and so then the question: who is able to stand before the Lord, this holy God? To whom shall we send this, so that we may be rid of him? And so they send word to another tribe of the Israelites: the Philistines have received the ark. Come and take it from us. And that's how chapter 6 ends, the beginning of this new journey of the Israelites. Going from, Eli was a judge and Samuel is going to come into play, but the growing pains